Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives, and a happy Lunar New Year to anyone that is celebrating while watching this video. But anyway, it is indeed the year of the rat and year of the rabbit. Okay, that was a throwback because the first ever special year of the whatever that we got was year of the rat, and that was, Yoter, YOTR. And Year of the Rabbit just has the same name. So anyway, yeah, it's Year of the Rabbit, and this is a very special year for me because 1999 is included. So technically, I guess you can say that I'm part of this because I was born in 1999, and I've tried to collect every single 1999 car that's in the game. In fact, I think I have almost every single 1999 car. I think I have every single 1999 epic, and not all of them are actually featured in this tag because once again it's kind of like a curated batch, so not every single 1999 car is over here, because if there was, then there would be like the Pagani C12, and if they had every other 1999 ultra rare, there will also be the Mercedes SL, I think 500. So yeah, I mean, not every single car is here, but there are some good ones this time, like the Maxi Turbo. So let's get into it. So you guys know how it works, right? I'm going to be reviewing this pack and how useful it is in and I gotta put, in bolded letters, okay? In a general sense, okay? Because as with every single challenge that we do, ladies and gentlemen, well, just gentlemen, really. Ladies don't watch my videos, at least not the Top Drives ones. Why don't we make Top Drives videos anyway? What are we talking about? Every single car here is gonna be useful in the challenge. It just is. There you can use every single car in the challenge, and I guess you can say that's the beauty of the special challenges, where not any car is really going to be useless. Obviously, there are some cars that you can use in maybe 10 rounds of the challenge, and then there's some cars where you'll only be using 2 rounds in a challenge. But every car will have its day in this challenge, so that's always pretty cool. But like I said, I'll be judging these cars in a general sense, how useful they are when the challenge doesn't exist anymore, okay? Because obviously, if you get these cars for the challenge and you max them out, you kind of have to think, oh, if I'm going to put resources into each and every car that you get over here, how useful is it going to be in the long run? And I feel like I explain myself all the time with these kind of things, especially with the Tri-Series packs as well. So let's get into it. Number one is the Aston Martin Vantage, and it is hot garbage. It's funny with the Aston Martin, right? Because when it first came out, Great Exhibition, I already knew that it wasn't very good. I'll put it frequent provider, and then I realized, wait, I never use it. And then I remember there was another video where this car was being judged, and I put it in pernicious ulcer. And then even then, like, you kind of still think, wow, but I actually really never use it, because the answer is it's hot garbage. The thing is, a lot of these Aston Martins, and it's funny because it has a keep ratio of 44% on Top Drives Club, but I think you should never listen to that ratio on Top Drives Club. But in this case, 44% seems just about right. There's nothing good about it. It literally just is a low ground clearance Subaru. Like, you know how Subarus, they don't really have much to desire about. At least they have 4-wheel drive medium ground clearance. At least they handle it pretty well. And maybe Subaru isn't even the right way to put it. They're like Audis. They're kind of like Audis. They're like low ground clearance rear wheel drive Audis, as in, like, they don't stand out anywhere, right? The Aston Martin 71 MRA is bad, but it's not horrible. 78 handling, it's borderline horrible, honestly. But the top speed in 0 to 60 is not horrible. It's not good. It's like okay, but there's no MRI to back it up. It's just mess. It's a sad situation. Next up, the Aston Martin Virage is next. This one's like better though. I'll give it like frequent provider. If it was still epic, because lo and behold, guys, this car used to be an epic, then it would be hot garbage. But now that it's an ultra rare, it's a little better, The 0 to 60 is, I would say, RQ63 range. Handling is under average. Top speed is overrated. 77 MRA isn't very good. The main thing about the car, I would say, is the 0 to 60, and the handling isn't the worst thing in the world. But definitely, like, it does pale in comparison to a lot of other ultra rares that are capable of hitting 86 plus now. So it is a frequent provider. As far as Aston Martins go, this is one of the better ones, just because it's one of the better Aston Martins that you can upgrade as well. Epics are a bit too expensive, especially, within the range of RQ63 to, like, 67, like less than 70, right? Next up, the Virage Volante. I think finally there was an event where this Virage Volante was actually somewhat useful in, but I forgot what it was. I think it was some kind of like convertible event. It was like 2 weeks ago. It was a ceramic event, okay? And I actually used a 332 version of that, and I was like, wow, it was actually like winning the test bowl, because it was like a great RQ saver for the test bowl, because at 332 it's close to 200 miles per hour for a top speed. So yeah, I can say this now. The Virage Volante has been useful in a total of 1 ceramic event in multiplayer, and Great Exhibition was how long ago? The start of 2020. So 3 years. 3 years. In my memory, in 3 years, that car has been useful about once. So yeah, pernicious ulcer, I guess. 0 to 60 is very good. For an RQ58, it's very, very good. But it isn't a dragster, guys. I mean, this is a car where a lot of people think, oh, is it a dragster because that 0 to 60 is very impressive. 72 MRA, I mean, it's just tough. I have 2 of these, though. One is drag spec, and the other is 233. They both get, you know, equally amount of uses, which is less than, like, 100. But, like, they have their day, I guess. I have to say that now. It had its day. Next up is the Audi S3. 59 MRA. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this one, man. Let's see how heavy it is. 1,530. So, you know, average for an Audi. Handling is good. Handling is good for a 4-wheel drive medium ground clearance car, and that's about it. I'll give it pernicious ulcer. I'm not gonna give it hot garbage because it has, you know, 80 handling. Next up is the BMW 1 Series M. I actually have this. It's funny because I wanted this, and because it was an Epic that went down and it has really good MRA, 89 MRA. 0 to 60 is weak, but the handling is okay. I mean, when I think of this car, I kind of think of like the Corvette Grand Sport, but with better MRA, but a lower top speed and about the same 0 to 60. I don't know, man. Is it even accurate to call it an American Corvette Grand Sport? They have the same handling as well, and I think very similar 0 to 60. The thing is, I've never gotten to use this car. Like, it's really good, like really, really good MRA. I think it's a pretty decent fast circuit hairpin car, because it has that handling and it has, you know, that MRA. But the 0 to 60 is just like, it's just so far off outstanding for it to be a 332. So I'll give it frequent provider. I think it will have its moments, but I've not seen it yet, but I think it will. Once again, guys, this is always in my opinion, but I've played the game for over 5 years. Now, the Donkavor D8 Audi, this is a car that I've held onto for so damn long as an Epic. But when it went down to ultra rare, I couldn't resist the urge to fuse it away. So after holding it for, I believe, almost a year as an Epic, I actually fused it away when it went down to an ultra rare a couple months ago, in hopes that I will get it again as an ultra rare. I've not gotten it again as an ultra rare, but with all the Year of the Rabbit carbon fibers that are going to come, this is probably the #1 ultra rare that I am looking for. It is incredibly light and it has a very low 0 to 60. So we're starting off very strong, 630 kilograms, a low 0 to 60, and it has an MRA of 76. So the saddest thing about it, right, is that 76 MRA. It actually has more MRA than these Aston Martins. That being said, though, the main thing that really brings this car down is that it's really known for being a twisty car, and 83 handling just isn't good enough. Max that thing out and it'll be about 92 handling. So unfortunately, I'm gonna put it in frequent provider. If it just had, even if it had like, if it had 86, if it had 86 handling, I would actually put it in daily driver. But with 83, yeah, not good enough. Honestly, if it had 86 handling, it might be borderline Der Kaiser. I would have to see how it really performs, but I feel like it may be really, really strong on like G-force, and especially slalom, because it is lighter than cars like the Zenith. But the handling number is it's such a big difference. The Zenith is 88. This is 83. But yeah, moving on is the Jaguar XKRS convertible, and some people might disagree with me on this, but I'm gonna put it pernicious ulcer. Not hot garbage, it could be, but yeah, pernicious ulcer. Out of all of the ultra rare Jags, this one is like the most disappointing, because all of the ultra rare Jags, they have weaker 0 to 60s compared to this. This has the lowest 0 to 60 out of all the ultra rare Jags. 4.2 is very impressive, but it also has the weakest MRI of 83.5, and the other ultra rare Jags are 90 plus, like we're talking like 97, 95, 99. And yeah, 83 is just a bit far off the mark, honestly. I mean, 0 to 60 is only gonna get you too far, gonna get you so far. At the end of the day, it's not like 4.2 seconds is a huge difference from the other ultra rare Jags. I think the other 64 is 4.4 seconds. And honestly, once you pass that 0 to 60, when that MRA kicks in, this thing is gonna be losing everywhere. So yeah, and the handling isn't good. 82 for an RQ64 doesn't cut it. Pernicious ulcer. Ulcer. Next up is the Mercedes-Benz E430. I really want to like this car because it has 88 MRI. I even have one drag spec. But the reality of the situation is it's going to lose to the Maybach Long Delay everywhere. So it's hot garbage. Next up is the Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet, and what an it just is a hideous car. But I don't think it's hot garbage, to be honest. It actually has decent handling for an RQ53. I commend that. And I want to check the weight in this car as well. It is it's over 2 tons, so it is a heavy car, but the handling is pretty good. So because of that reason alone, I'll not give it hot garbage. The Peugeot 306 Maxi, without a doubt, is Der Kaiser. I mean, this one needs no introduction, guys. Like, it just take my word for it. It's like the best Ultra in the game. Next up is the Pontiac Trans Am 30th anniversary. And I mean, the only thing about this car is that it's medium ground clearance, but then again, it's gonna be useful in this challenge because when you look at it, all the low RQ Ultra Airs are low. Like the Di Tommaso Mangusta is low, the Aston Martin is low, the Nissan Cross Cabriolet, although it's high, is not performance tires. And the next rear-wheel drive medium ground clearance car that you get for Ultra Airs, hell, there's none. There's actually none. So yeah, in terms of the challenge, this car is going to be pretty useful because it's the only Ultra Air with medium ground clearance and rear wheel drive. But outside of the challenge, the car is hot garbage. Next up is the Subaru Impreza. But yeah, this car you're probably gonna need it for the challenge. Let's be honest, because it's like probably the best car to use. It is going to beat the Audi in medium ground clearance. And this is like 4 RQ difference. And the only other medium ground clearance car on top of this is it's not even the BMW. Like there's actually not a lot. Like this car is actually going to be really freaking useful, and it pains me to say that because this car sucks. So that's evil from Hutch. Next up is the Impreza WRX GC 8G. It's light, handles pretty well. 0 to 60 is kind of shit, but it's okay. It's okay. I use it quite a bit in Christmas collection as well, and it looks like it's coming back for Year of the Rabbit because it is a 1999 car. But I think at most high pernicious Ulcer. I'm not gonna give it a freaking provider. Next up is the Vauxhall Insignia. This thing's also pretty garbage. Oh, this is medium ground clearance, but then again, it isn't rear wheel drive. 6.1 for 0 to 60 is really weak. MRA of 74 is a little better. 82 handling is okay. Hot garbage, honestly. I don't know, man. Like, these two cars are very similar. This is 2 RQ less. There's a 0.3 second difference to 0 to 60. One is better in MRA. Same handling. Yeah, I'll put them together. They're not very strong, though. Di Tommaso Mangusta is up next. No traction control, no ABS. Handling is good. 0 to 60 is okay. I'll give it freaking provider. It's decent for an RQ50. And then we move on to Epic. So we start off not very strong with a Bentley. 0 to 60 is not that strong. I mean, it's not bad. It's actually pretty strong for a 4-wheel drive performance tire car. Handling isn't the worst thing in the world. It is, at the end of the day, without any bias, one of the better Epic Bentleys. But that's not saying much. It's like kind of saying that you are the most, the best smelling turd out of all the crap in the outhouse. You know what I mean? Like, it's not saying much, but it's okay. I would give it freaking provider. Okay. Next up is it gets value. Okay. It gets value simply because it beats other Epic Bentleys. Next up is the BMW M3 CRT. This car is one of those like cars that you just don't want to get from the Motorsport carbon fiber because it is Motorsport, but it's like one of the worst Motorsport cars to get. 83 MRA, 4.285. It's a very like meh car. It doesn't stand out anywhere. Jack of all trades, master of none. But really, it's gonna lose by 50 everywhere. Is that enough to say that it's decent? I don't think so. I'm gonna give it a high pernicious ulcer. Next up is the Dodge Viper ACR. Dodge Viper ACR has a couple of niches. It's from 1999, so it is a 90s car. It has really good MRA, 87. It has a high top speed. 0 to 60 is respectable of 4 seconds. You max that out. It'll be 3.4. Handling isn't very good, and I own this car. I have it 233, and it's 3.494. But to be completely honest, if I had to do it all again, I would probably drag spec it because I want to make most of the MRA and the high top speed. And if you drag spec it, it'll be 3.3, 0 to 60, 88, something like that. It's a pretty good dragster, I would say. In terms of saving, RQ, it has ABS surprisingly for a Viper, but obviously no traction control. I would give it freaking provider. Still, no daily drivers, kind of bad. Next up is the Infiniti M56. Not much to say about it. 0 to 60 for a standard tire car is okay. MRA is okay for a standard tire medium ground clearance saloon. I will give it frequent provider. Next up, Lamborghini Gallardo. This used to be Der Kaiser. Like if this was like Italian Renaissance great exhibition kind of time, that would have been Der Kaiser. That would have been like RQ26, one of the best epics in the game, right? You know, good MRA 88, low 0 to 60 3.7, good handling 88. That used to be like the creme de la creme of epics. But now you get epics that get over 100 handling and under 3 seconds of 0 to 60, or just exactly 3 seconds of 0 to 60 and like 98 MRA, where this Gallardo just isn't, it doesn't withstand the test of time, unfortunately. I remember I wanted that Gallardo so badly when it first came out in Italian Renaissance. I never got it. I have it now, but it just isn't that useful anymore. It's still a good car, but it definitely is not Der Kaiser. I'm going to put it in daily driver. Next up is the Lotus Esprit Sport 350. Not much to say about it. Handling for an RQ67 is like the bare minimum what I would expect. Nothing lower than 86. MRA 76, just not that good. 4.3 of a 0 to 60. It's like okay, once again, like yeah, I'm gonna put it right next to this Jag. I think that these two cars have very similar auras. Like their 0 to 60s are very similar. One has stronger MRA, but one has stronger handling. You know, it's like, but they're both like kind of just meh hybrids, lose by 50. I'll put the, you know what, I'm gonna put the BMW. Like these three cars, I feel like they just have the same aura. All right, next up is the Lotus Evora GTE. Now this one is a car that I really want, because I really want the BMW M5 CS. And I do believe that the requirements are going to be Lotus ×5, and then probably like World Expo or World Series Collection ×3 or ×2, something like that. And yeah, this is one of the cars that you can get. Obviously, it's not a new Lotus. It is a great exhibition Lotus, but it is a very strong Lotus. I'll give it daily driver. 100 handling. It's got a decent 0 to 60, a high top speed, and it's a Lotus with better MRA, 83. Gone are the days where that Lotus used to have like 100 MRA. I miss that. I miss that so much. But I digress. 83 is still good for a Lotus, okay? Most Lotuses are in that 60, low 70 range. So 83, fair enough. If it's a Lotus drag event, that car will get you settled enough. Next up is a car that I really, really love, and that's the Mercedes SLS Roadster. It's a pretty strong car. It's got a good MRA, 88, you know. It's got, you know, a decent 0 to 60. For an RQ73, handling is weak. If anything, it's a bit of a dragster. It's okay. It's okay. I'll give it frequent provider, like a very high frequent provider. It is very similar to the Gallardo. They have the same 0 to 60. They have the same MRI. Hell, they have the same top speed. These two cars are almost freaking identical. The only difference is that the Gallardo handles better. It has 3 more handling. But when you max that out, that actually makes a big difference, because 88 goes to 98. But 85 doesn't go to 95. It doesn't get a plus 10. You 233 that, 85 goes to 94. So there's a 3 handling difference between these two cars now. But if you max both of them, there's going to be a 4 handling difference. So yeah, tough. I'll give it a high frequent provider. This car used to be legendary as well. Can you believe that? Next up, the Porsche 911 Carrera 3.4. This car has potential. I'm gonna give it frequent provider. Out of the lower RQ stuff, this looks to be the best, simply because it handles the best. 0 to 60 also, you know, it's the same with the BMW. Like, they're both 4.2 seconds. It's just that this car handles better. There is an MRI difference. The BMW obviously handles better, but not good enough for this to be a drag car. But this has enough handling for it to be a pseudo twisty car for that can get you decent amount of value. Next up is going to be another Porsche 4.5 86, and for 2 RQ less. I mean, it feels like it makes sense in terms of the RQ thing. If this is 68, this is 66. That makes sense. But then again, the obvious elephant in the room is that this is the worst car. So pernicious ulcer. And it's not, I mean, I would say it's like a bargain, but it's not that good of a bargain in terms of a general sense. There are better versions, better bargains out there, namely like the Emerge E for 1 RQ more that handles incredibly better with a way lower 0 to 60. Next up, Super Forester, and yeah, that's hot garbage. And then we have the Volkswagen CC. The Volkswagen CC is an interesting one because in the past I would give it Der Kaiser, and it is a very, very good car, but we need to remember, in a general sense, this car is going to be going up against the 4-wheel drive standard tire Mercedes. I understand that Mercedes is low ground clearance, but if we go medium ground clearance, then it's going to go up against like the Cadillac CT6, the Jaguar E-Pace, and more importantly, the DS Numero 9, and it loses to all the cars that I mentioned. So because of that, I'm going to bump it down to daily driver. It is still very, very good though, that Volkswagen. Then we move on to legendaries. First one is this piece of shit Audi R8 frequent provider, and the the Bentley isn't much better. I mean, the good thing about the Bentley is that it has 90 MRA. I mean, so does the R8, to be fair. The R8 also has 90 MRA. The Bentley has 90 MRA, but yeah, it's pernicious ulcer. The only reason that I'm not putting it in hot garbage is because of it has good MRA and it's got a high top speed. Fair. Next up is the Hennessy Venom GT Der Kaiser, for sure. 112 MRA, almost 300 miles per hour for a top speed, or I guess you can say 280. Very, very good car. Then we have the Lamborghini Aventador Coupe. Yeah, I'm not gonna give it Der Kaiser, but it's not bad. It's one of the better Lamborghinis. It's got a low 0 to 60, one of the better handling Lamborghinis, but still it fails to even hit 80 MRA. 78 is abysmal. But the on paper stats, the things that you can see on the card, are good, but the handling's not. Next up is the Super Trofeo, and to my surprise, I thought this car had better MRI than what it has, but it has 80, which isn't very good. That being said though, it is one of the better handling Lamborghinis, same thing, right? One of the better handling Lamborghinis still. It's capable of hitting 100 actually, which is really nice. 0 to 60 is weak. Handling is a little better than the Aventador's. Top speed is also high. It's a lightweight car. I would give it daily driver, mainly because at least it handles. And last but not least is my baby, honestly, the Porsche 911 GT2 RS. This car has gone through so much with me. From my max legendary video, you will know that I have it maxed. Things to take away about the GT2 RS. For 84 RQ, you are getting a car with performance tires that is capable of hitting over 100 handling and has over 100 MRA. Those are the two main factors. It also has over 200 miles per hour for a top speed. The weakest thing about the 911 is that 3.40 to 60. Outside of that, it is a very decent car. But it's not good enough for it to be Der Kaiser, unfortunately, in my opinion. And this is coming from someone that has used this car, that has it maxed and has used it a lot of times. It is a fantastic car though. I genuinely love that GT2 RS. It is kind of like Oliver to me, you know? And I really should name my own GT2 RS. I think I should give it the same name that I gave it from Bloss Madness, but I forgot the name that I gave it. I think it was like the Gauntlet or something like that. I'll have to double check. But anyway, guys, that is my assessment of the Year of the Rabbit pack. Yeah, it's not very good. I don't think it takes me to tell you this, but it's not very good. There are some pretty good cars, like the Gallardo and the Lotus, the Volkswagen. They're good. And in this challenge alone, they are amazing, all stars. But once you open the floodgates and you compare them to every epic in the game, when you compare the Volkswagen CC to the Jaguar I-Pace or the DS Numero 9 or the Lamborghini Gallardo to even just the Dodge Viper SRT10, which is only RQ76, or the Celine Epic, or even the Blue Rezvani, I don't know their model names, I'm sorry. Like, Gallardo's nothing anymore, you know? Or even the Lotus Evora, you compare it to the Exige. So yeah, they're great cars, but they kind of just missed their Kaiser. The only two that can really deserve the name, in my opinion, goes to the 306 Maxi and the Hennessy Venom. I would say that everything Pernicious Ulcer and below is just not worth it. Frequent Provider, but yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Should you open it? I mean, nah, the prizes, honestly, for Year of the Rabbit aren't even that good. To be fair, the Lotus that they're giving out is okay, pretty cool. But outside of that, like, it's not worth breaking the bank for, I would say. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be my assessment of the pack. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree. I think that I think I hit the ball. I think I hit it out of the park. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the saying that I'm trying to say. I think this was a very good assessment. I don't know. I feel proud of this. Out of all pack reviews I've done, I feel like this is one of my best ones yet. Like, I really agree with everything that I put over here. I don't know. Maybe you can disagree. Be down in the comments below. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, stay safe. Wash your hands. I'm bossing out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville.